It's a cold Saturday morning, but we have an Italian aerodrome all to ourselves, and today we are featuring this Ferrari 512M. The 512 was originally produced by Ferrari to compete in the 1970 FIA World Sports Car Championship, and it was originally configured in S configuration. 25 examples were produced. The project was headed by Mauro Forghieri, and all cars were produced in less than 3 months. Sports car racing in that period was highly competitive, and Porsche had fielded their very dominant 917. So throughout the 1970 season, Ferrari realized that they had to make some improvements on their spectacular looking sports car in order to seriously compete with Porsche. So they decided to enclose the cockpits, completely redesign the front nose section and the rear tail section, all for cooling purposes and for aerodynamics. They completely redesigned the whole car. A huge amount of mechanical upgrades were carried out, including new cylinder heads, special valves, upgraded camshafts, lightweight liners, which helped increase the brake horsepower from 550 horsepower from the 512S to over 610 horsepower in the M configuration. Of the 25 original cars that were produced, only 15 of those cars were upgraded to the M configuration, the M standing for modificata. Now, this particular example is a very special 512M. All of these cars were raced towards an inch of their life, which means today that they're not all particularly original. However, this car was ordered new by George Loos's famous Gelo Racing Team in Germany, and it competed at the 1970 and 1971 Le Mans 24 Hours. It also raced at some other fantastic tracks in all of the big international races, including Watkins Glen and Brands Hatch. And then in 1971, the car was sold by George Loos to Pierre Bardenon, who at the time was the most prominent Ferrari collector in the world. And this car would join his very impressive stable of cars for the next 2 decades. And then in 1991, it was sold to another prominent Ferrari collector, a gentleman based in Switzerland who had the most wonderful cars, including a 312 PB, a 250 GTO, a California Spider, a 250 LM. And then that car remained with that same custodian until we purchased the car only 2 years ago. Following our purchase, we decided to send the car to our mechanical favorite specialists in the whole world, the very revered Ferrari gods that are Bonini. And over the last 2 years, they have been carefully going through this car, doing a preservation recommissioning, ensuring the car is completely on the button, returning the car to its period livery as it was raced at Le Mans. And you'll see some of the wonderful period Firestone, the Gelo Racing Team. The car looks today, like I said earlier, all 512Ms look lightning quick whilst they're stood still. However, the car's presented today in exceptional condition. Now, I have had the pleasure of selling 3 of the 15 512Ms in the past. However, I've never had the privilege of actually getting to drive one of these cars, one of the few Ferraris that I've yet to drive. So today, we have an aerodrome that's completely empty, all to ourselves. The car is fresh from recommissioning by the great Bonini. So I think I need to give the car a little bit of a shakedown before we present it for sale. However, I'm not quite in the right attire, so I think it's time for a quick change. Okay, we're about to set off. As you can see, I've decided to go without a helmet in order to be able to give a bit of commentary and feedback whilst driving the car. Just wanted to point out we are on an aerodrome solely on our own today, and I'm not going to be driving it to the full limits. So just in case anybody wants to tell me how irresponsible I am, that's the decision to be made. So ignition on. Oh my God. I like to see through the periscope, the rear view mirror that I can see here. Such a simple cockpit, no room for a passenger. However, you know, Lord Anthony Bamford once told me that he used a 512M. He managed to get it road registered, and he used the car as a daily around his offices in Uttoxeter in England. Bloody what a hero. Okay. We've got oil pressure, we've got fuel. We've got great vision actually. Wow, it's amazing how much it just feels like you're in an open cockpit. I think it's time to see what this car's got. 5-litre V12. What a phenomenal car to drive. An incredible car to look at. For me, I could put it on a pedestal and keep it in my man cave, and it's incredible. It looks like a sculpture. But to drive the car, that V12, 610 horsepower, and just to travel back in time and imagine what it was like for the likes of Jackie Ickx to be racing this car in period and doing 200 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight. It's incredible, and quite an easy car. It's intimidating because of the speed, it's super lightweight, it's a car of the period, but it's actually a very easy car to use, very easy car to drive. It's a special experience.
Anything that's Ferrari related, this man is the king of. And thank you. For the last 2 years it's been here. He came with me to inspect the car a couple of years ago when I bought it in Switzerland. When we inspected it, he said to me, he said, "Tom, this is very original. This is a good one."
Sì, fino dalla prima, diciamo, impressione della macchina è stata l'originalità di tutti i pezzi, cofani, pannelli d'alluminio del telaio. La macchina non ha mai avuto incidenti perché non è mai stata riparata nel telaio o sospensioni eccetera, e ho trovato una macchina molto originale, insomma, fin da subito.
The really difficult decision for us was okay, it is so original, how much work do we do? And the decision was that we just wanted to recommission the car. It was what I consider a preservation restoration. And that's the reason preservation restorations take longer than complete restorations, because complete restorations you can just strip and replace.
Abbiamo deciso di mantenere la patina originale della vettura, perché quando sono andato a vederla, chi aveva la macchina, il precedente proprietario, ha mantenuto anche lui l'originalità. È stato molto bravo perché ha fatto anche diverse manifestazioni negli anni 2000 con l'Historic Challenge Ferrari e è stata sempre ben mantenuta, e qui non è stato fatto un vero e proprio restauro, diciamo, è stato fatto un restauro conservativo, quindi non è stata riverniciata la macchina, non sono state sostituite nessun tipo di componenti. È stato solo fatto un controllo di tutta la meccanica, è stato tolto il motore, soprattutto i carter di magnesio dove ci sono gli alloggiamenti delle pompe dell'acqua. Il motore secondo noi era stato ricostruito da poco o ha fatto poche ore di uso in pista, è stato controllato con l'endoscopio, le compressioni eccetera, il motore infatti gira molto bene. Abbiamo revisionato il cambio perché c'erano alcune cose che non andavano all'interno, ma senza sostituire comunque degli ingranaggi.
A 512S, the original configuration,
Sì.
for me it's a sculpture. It is so beautiful with the open roof. It's a fantastic looking car. But the M was a far superior car as a racing car.
Sì.
Much more power.
Yes.
I think it was 48 kilograms lighter.
Yes.
Much improved cooling,
50 cavalli in
aerodynamics.
più sul motore, sì, è migliorato il raffreddamento e soprattutto l'aerodinamica per combattere contro il dominio Porsche dell'epoca.
Look, it looks absolutely incredible. You've done a fantastic job. I drove the car today, as you know, at the aerodrome, but I think it's very much, this car has had 3 custodians in its whole life. This car its first owner was obviously George Luz from the Gelo Racing Team. Pierre Bardenon then owned the car for 2 decades, and the third owner owned the car for 3 decades. I think because of the work you've done, and we've taken plenty of time over the last couple of years to make sure it's right, it's very much ready for its 4th custodian, and I do hope we get to see the car out in action. I would love to see it at Le Mans Classic.
Anche per noi è stato un progetto ambizioso perché insomma va al di fuori dei soliti restauri, delle solite riparazioni che facciamo. Conoscevamo il tipo di vettura perché avevamo già avuto esperienze su una vettura simile, ma insomma è stato emozionante e ringrazio il mio amico Tom.
Thank you. Fantastic work, okay? On to our next project. Thank you.